Thanks very much, Nick. Well, conference, it's a real delight to be here to talk about housing because we have a great tale to tell in Wales, as many of the speakers have reflected. Ending homelessness in all its forms in Wales remains an absolute top priority for your Welsh Labour government. And can I just say on a personal level how delighted I am that Mark Drakeford asked me to continue to be the Housing Minister as part of the new climate change portfolio. It's been phenomenal to be asked to do that. I know, conference, that you already know this, but the Welsh Labour Government puts environmental and social justice at the heart of our decision-making, and ending homelessness is a critical aspect of that agenda. Now more than ever, we appreciate, all of us, what it means to have a safe and secure roof over our heads and somewhere to call home. The biggest change we've seen in our approach to homelessness in Wales is the adoption of a truly inclusive approach to ensure no one is left without accommodation or support. This has forced to think in new ways and to truly embed our partnership working and multi-agency approach. And can I just say a heartfelt thank you to all of the people working in homelessness and housing services across Wales, our local authority partners, our third sector partners, our charity partners, Cymorth, a range of people who have absolutely worked their socks off right through the pandemic to ensure that no one is left without the offer of a secure and supported home. And for those people whose problems are so severe that they've found it difficult to come into accommodation, that each one of those people has a support outreach worker working with them to bring them slowly towards services. Anyone who's worked in homelessness will know that it is a terribly dehumanizing thing to have happen to you. You tend to distrust people who are offering you things and have severe difficulties after a short time of rough sleeping. So can I just say an additional thank you to all of the outreach workers who have worked so hard to contact each and every one of those people in Wales and make sure that they have the support that they are able to accept and slowly build a trust that can bring them back into services and a decent and secure home. Because as everyone has said, no one in a civilized society should be left without a home. So we are absolutely committed to moving from a position of reliance on temporary accommodation to a system focused entirely on prevention and rapid rehousing, which includes housing first at the most acute end. The approach is completely underpinned by the work of the Homelessness Action Group, which we had already started work on before the pandemic. So we had a Homelessness Action Group that came together from partners, experts in the field from around the UK and Wales, chaired by John Sparks from Crisis, who I'm very grateful to indeed. And they put a plan together for us to tell us how to get to a situation where we did not have homelessness in Wales, that homelessness was rare, brief and unrepeated. And they delivered that plan 3 weeks before the pandemic hit. That plan was due to take us 2 or 3 years to implement, and I am delighted to say that the people of Wales stood with us and implemented it in 12 weeks. I mean, it can be done if you want to do it. So I can tell you now that I am determined that we are never going back to the system that we had before. Now we have done it, we will maintain it. But the transformation properly will take a number of years. We've already begun to do that transformation, and very shortly we will put what I'm afraid is a sticking plaster on to make sure that the system is maintained while we transform the legislation. But we are doing it. It will take a number of years. We've put an additional 50 million in to begin that transformation of services and ensure that those in temporary accommodation can move on to long-term sustainable housing. We have also set very clear standards for both temporary and permanent homes. In response, our local authorities, our social landlords and their partners have come forward with ambitious and innovative projects to deliver thousands of new temporary and permanent homes, as well as new wraparound services across housing support, substance misuse, mental health, primary care and community safety, all of which are essential to delivering a housing strategy. This is a public services crisis, not just in housing. And of course, conference, if we are to end homelessness here in Wales, prevention must be our primary focus. We have had to focus, of course, on the acute end of homelessness during the pandemic, but we have not lost sight of the fact that we must work on the preventative agenda. We know there is considerable pressure continuing on homelessness services. Unfortunately, and very worryingly, we still have a very high presentation of homeless people at each council every month in Wales, not far short of 1,000 people presenting each month. So this preventative work is urgent and necessary. But it's not about reducing the numbers, it's about enabling people to live safe and stable lives without having to experience the destabilising, marginalising, dehumanising effects of homelessness. But we know that prevention covers a broad range of activity. Our Welsh Labour Government's Housing Support Grant is a preventative grant. It's about supporting people to live independently and helping them to maintain their tenancies and prevent homelessness. Conference, following Welsh Labour's phenomenal success in the Senate's elections last year, I was so pleased to be able to increase that grant by £40 million this year, which is an increase of 32%, very much in recognition of the importance of that housing support as part of the preventatives agenda. This is what a Labour government can do. But Conference, it's also vital that we have a sufficient supply of good quality, affordable housing to meet our needs and policies that prevent homelessness occurring in the first place. Our commitment to ensuring families and individuals have access to that housing that enables them to thrive has not wavered one jot. Your Welsh Labour Government has invested more than £2 billion over the course of the last Senate's term to deliver affordable housing, exceeding our goal of delivering 20,000 affordable homes in Wales. And unlike the Tories in England, we have also ended the right to buy here in Wales. We believe in truly sustainable communities. Our cities, towns and villages must be good places to live and work in. Our Planning Policy Wales and National Development Framework reflects both our commitment to developing more social housing and to placemaking in its wider sense. And the case for investing in social housing is as strong as it's ever been. This is why your Welsh Labour Government has made a clear commitment to build another 20,000 new low-carbon homes for social rent in the social sector in this Senate's term. And Conference, Welsh Labour are building better social homes in Wales, building more of them and building them more quickly, ensuring that not only are they providing the safe and secure homes for people, but they are providing homes fit for the future, decarbonised, low energy, no fuel poverty, good places to live and bring up your family. So Conference, we commit to focus on low-carbon homes throughout our target. We set energy and decarbonisation standards for new housing projects and housing sites that we financially support. This is in line with the policies that are driving Wales to our net zero carbon future, and why housing is part of the climate change portfolio, because it delivers very large numbers of our targets for net zero. And in recognition of our continued commitment to social housing, we've allocated a record £250 million to the social housing grant this financial year. That's more than double the budget that we had in 2020-21. And our three-year final budget, published on the 1st of March, further underpins this with record levels of funding allocations of £310 million, £330 million and £325 million in the following 3 years. We've also confirmed our ambition to establish a national construction company, ENOS, to support our councils and social landlords to improve the supply of social and affordable housing. And Conference, we are also taking decisive action in relation to second homes. We are charging the upper limits of discretionary council tax premiums for second homes and long-term empty properties and to the threshold for non-domestic rates. These will help ensure a fair contribution is made through taxation, and for holiday lets, they make a clear contribution to local economies. Our consultation on groundbreaking proposals for the planning system closed on the 22nd of February, drawing an extremely large response rate, as did the consultation for the Welsh Language Communities Housing Plan. We're also currently consulting on local variation of land transaction tax.
Could I remind you of the time, please?
Yep, absolutely, Nick, I will. Alongside our commitments on affordable housing. And then, Conference, a lot to say on housing and climate change, I'm afraid. So, Conference, just turning then last to the two motions. We support absolutely the Brecon and Radnor motion, and I'm very pleased to see it here. On the composite motion, we absolutely support the policy principles there. We are absolutely committed to all of the things that that motion calls for. Unfortunately, in government, we also have to make sure that the laws that we pass are not challengeable. We know that rent control will be unpopular with the private rented sector and that they will judicially review us if we do not follow their process. So, Conference, we have to follow that process. We have to consult properly without predetermining it, and we have to go through with a white paper process in order to make sure that that legislation bites. So I understand the eloquence and the need for speed of those in the private rented sector. We will implement the Renting Homes Act to make that situation better, and we will go through the process to make sure that in Wales we have the best housing policy anywhere, not only in the UK, but in Europe. Thank you, Conference.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Conference. It is an important debate, as the Minister said.